So I think we have started with the last method. I'll just do the problem once again because yesterday I couldn't continue because of some technical problems. So I'll complete this question and then we'll move on to the next method. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So before we start with the problems, can one of you please tell me what were the conditions that we explained yesterday, and what are the prerequisites for solving the problems for n machines and k problems and k jobs? Can anybody please tell me about the conditions of that?
Minimum of first machine is greater than maximum of remaining machines, sir.
Okay.
And minimum of last machine is greater than maximum or equals to maximum of remaining machine.
Very nice. Very good. Very good. Okay. Anyway, I'll just take that question once again because we couldn't solve the problem completely. And then we will continue with the other problem today. Okay. Yeah. So the question goes like this. The machines are you able to see the board clearly, everyone?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
1 minute. Huh? I think it's coming mirror image, right? Just give me 1 minute time. Just 1 minute. Hello. Computer the image area cancel is looking very small and but the mirror image was ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ಮಿರರ್ ಇಮೇಜ್ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಫೇರ್ ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ Hello,
Yes, sir, we can see.
can you see the numbers clearly? I mean, I'll just let me write something on the board. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, I'll try to maintain the same font so that you'll be able to read the numbers clearly. Okay, yeah, fine then. Thank you. Okay, so totally there are 5 machines A, B, C, D, E, and they've given the jobs as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the values are 7, 5, 2, 3, 9, 6, 6, 4, 5, 10, and for the third job it is 5, 4, 5, 6, 8, 8, 3, 3, 2, and 6. Okay. Now this is the values we have, and now you are supposed to solve this problem by the help of sequencing. Okay. So if you remember the yesterday's step, I told very clearly, we are supposed to see how many machines are there, and based on the number of machines, we are supposed to whether it belongs to case 1, case 2, or case 3. Okay. So what is case 1? If the number of machines are exactly 2, it is case 1. If the number of machines are exactly 3, then it is case 2. And if the number of machines are more than 3, then we usually belong to case 3 problems. Here we are not concerned about the number of jobs. It is always number of machines which becomes important. So you can see that totally there are 5 machines given here, and therefore this belongs to case 3. We know that one of the serious limitations of the sequencing problem is the Johnson's rules can be applied only if the number of machines to 2. But as far as this question is concerned, there are totally 5 machines, and therefore it is not practically possible to apply Johnson's rule and solve the problem. So in order to apply Johnson's rule, then there are certain prerequisites to be satisfied. What are the prerequisites? Minimum of the machine A. Here the machine A is nothing but the first machine. We should always take the first machine as the first part. And second is the minimum of E. Here why E? I'm taking E is nothing but the last machine. Okay. The first machine and the last machine has to be considered. The minimum of first machine and the last machine should be greater than or equal to the maximum of the remaining machines. Maximum of remaining machines. Okay, so this condition has to be verified in order to solve this problem. Now in this problem, the first and last machine are machine A and machine E, whereas the remaining machines are machine B, machine C, and machine D. Okay, now let me verify the condition. If you look at the table value, that is the processing value time given here, what is the minimum of A? Can you please tell me what is the minimum value? How much we get?
5.
5.
5.
5 is the minimum value. Okay. Anyway, this is the job. So 5 becomes your minimum value. Okay. So the 5 is the minimum value. So I'll write it here. So minimum of A is equals to 5. Similarly, let me calculate the minimum of last machine. So what is the minimum of last machine here? That is minimum of E. How much we get minimum of E?
6.
6. So 6 is the value. Okay. Now let us find this value. maximum of remaining values. So maximum of machine B, how much we get maximum of B?
6.
6. So here the maximum will become, for B it is 6. Okay, yeah. And then for C, what is the maximum value?
5.
5.
Okay, good. And for D, what is the maximum value?
6.
6.
Now you can see that the rule says minimum of first machine, okay, should be greater than or equal to the maximum of remaining machines, or minimum of last machine should be greater than or equal to the maximum of remaining machines. There are totally 4 conditions here. And if any one of the conditions are satisfied, then we are good to go. Now let me check the conditions here. The minimum of A equals to 5. 5 should be greater than or equal to the remaining values of all this. So what has happens here? 5 is greater than or equal to 6, 5, 6. Now you can see that 5 is only greater than or equal to 5. But in the 2 other conditions, it is not satisfied. That means the condition number 1 is not fully satisfied. Whenever we are saying that the condition has to be satisfied, this condition should be satisfied for all the 3 remaining values. You cannot only verify it for one of the value and say it is satisfied. It has to be satisfied for all the 3 value. But here you could see that the 5 is satisfying only one condition. So therefore, the first condition is not satisfied. Now we'll come back to the second condition. What is second condition? The minimum of last machine should be greater than or equal to the maximum of remaining machines. Now we know that the last machine is E and the minimum value happens to be 6. Okay. So if I'm writing here, what will happen now? 6 is greater than or equal to 6, 5, 6. Now you can see that the value 6 is equal to 6, greater than 5, and equal to 6. That means all the 3 conditions are satisfied here. All the 3 conditions are satisfied. So now it very clearly suggests that the condition number 2 is satisfied. Condition number 2 is satisfied. So now what is the procedure to be followed? Now this is exactly where I wanted to stress. Unfortunately, yesterday, since there was some technical problem, I could not continue. Please understand, I'm writing it here very clearly. This is the most important step in this entire problem. If both the conditions are satisfied, this is very, very important. If both the conditions are satisfied, okay, then the problem can be directly reduced to only 2 matrices. Okay, andre this and this, if both the conditions are satisfied, then we can directly reduce this problem. That is, the 5 machine problem can be directly reduced to 2 machine problem. Hege reduce martivi? The first machine and the last machine can be directly considered. And as far as this problem is concerned, machine A and machine E can be directly taken as the last values for applying sequencing rule. Now, bere enu calculation madbekada avashyakate illa. Okay, when am I supposed to do that? Only both the conditions are satisfied. Andre eradu conditions satisfy agbeku. Just assume that in this problem, if both the conditions were satisfied, avaga what would have been the reduced matrix? The reduced matrix would be okay and E. Directly I can write the value as 7, 6, 5, 8 is the first row, and the second row is 9, 10, 8, and 6. E particular problem here. Now I can apply the Johnson's rule and directly get the answer. Are you able to understand now? Are you all able to get this point clearly? I can directly reduce the given problem into 2 machine problem if both the conditions are satisfied. And 2 machines he convert madbeku by a simple procedure, I should take the first machine and the last machine, and only those two machines will be used for applying Johnson's rule. I'm not going to do any other calculations here. Okay, but here in this particular problem, I will not be able to convert directly into two machines because both the conditions are not satisfied. Only one condition is satisfied. Okay. Okay. Now the question is, if only one of the condition is satisfied, then what to do? Let us assume that there could be a problem where both the conditions are not satisfied. What are we supposed to do? At least here one condition is satisfied, so there is some possibility to do it. What if both the conditions are not satisfied? Then what are we supposed to do? Can Emily please make a guess? What could be the possibility if both the conditions are not satisfied? Yeah, can I get some answers? Hello?
Maybe we shift one of the machine later, like A becomes the last one and B becomes the first one.
No. If both the conditions are not satisfied, you can simply come to a conclusion that this problem does not have any solution. Very only we don't have to do any other calculations here. You can stop the problem there because the problem has not satisfied the minimum requirement of the Johnson's rule. Hagagi, now further problem continue madlike agala. Will not be able to continue the problem if both the conditions are not satisfied. So please remember this step very clearly. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂರು possibility ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Possibility number one of the conditions can be satisfied, like what we have now. Condition number 2 or possibility number 2, both the condition may be satisfied. I think that's an ideal condition. And number 3, if both the conditions are not satisfied, then we can straight away come to conclusion that the problem does not have a solution. Is that clear now? The most important point to be remembered here is, when are you supposed to convert this entire question straight away into two machine problem, and when I'm supposed to introduce two fictitious machines called G and H. Yesterday I explained madbekadre nimge ee problem nalli we converted it to G and H machines. Do you all remember that? We converted into G and H machine by taking G is equals to A plus B plus C plus D, first four machines, and H is equal to the next four machines, that is B plus C plus D plus E. So by taking those two values, we got G and H, applied sequencing rule, and we got the answer. That's a different story. Okay. Here the most important point here is, when am I supposed to convert the problem into two machines directly? When I'm supposed to introduce fictitious machine? That clarity one should have. Okay. Have you all understood this step clearly now, everyone? Any question, any doubts? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. I think now this question is very clear that both the conditions are not satisfied, and therefore now I am supposed to introduce two fictitious machines called G and H. I am supposed to introduce two fictitious machines. So let me do it now. Okay. So the two fictitious machines G and H have to be introduced. So G is equals to, please remember, if there are totally 5 machines, then the number of machines to be added will always be equal to n minus 1. If the number of machines are n, then the number of machines to be added will always be equal to n minus 1. Since there are totally 5 machines here, I should be adding n minus 1. So what is n minus 1? 5 minus 1, it becomes 4. So G is equals to the first 4 machines. So which are the first 4 machines? A plus B plus C plus D. This is the first 4 machines. Similarly, H is equals to, what is the H value? The next 4. So you should leave the first one and take the next 4. So it starts from B now. So what will be the value for H now? B plus C plus D plus E. Now this is the two fictitious machines which I've got. Now I am supposed to find the values of G and H so that I'll be able to apply the Johnson's rule. Okay. Now let me write the values quickly. Now the machines are G and H, and how many jobs we have here? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now let me write the values now. Okay. How do we add the values? That's the next question. If you look at the equation G, it is given as A plus B plus C plus D. Okay. Now how do we add the values here? You are supposed to add the processing times. When I say G equal to A plus B plus C plus D, this is your machine A, this is your machine B, this is your machine C, and this is your machine D. For all the 4 jobs, I am supposed to add the value. So how do I add? 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3. This 4 value put together will become the first value for G. Okay. Similarly, for the job number 2, 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5. For job number 3, 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, and so on. Can you please add and quickly tell me the answers now? Can one of you please tell me the answers now?
17.
17,
Good. Second machine.
21,
21,
Okay.
20,
20. Okay.
16.
16. Great. Okay. Now can you please tell me the values for H now? Exactly the same thing. B plus C plus D plus E. That means I have to start from the second row. From this till the last value. So 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 9 for all the 4 columns. Can you tell me now values?
19,
19.
Good. Second value.
25,
25. Great.
23,
23. Great.
14.
14. Perfect. Now you can see that the problem is ready for sequencing. Since the machine has been successfully converted into 2 machine problem, now we are able to apply Johnson's rule and find the order. Okay. I hope you all remember how do we apply the Johnson's rule here. Can anybody please tell me what is the basic rules to be followed in Johnson's rule? Yeah. Yes. Can any one of you please tell me what are the rules to be followed in Johnson's rule?
We need to find out the lowest value among all the values. We need to check whether it is in a G or H. If it
Okay.
is in a G, we need to assign it from left to right.
Okay.
Or if it is in a H, we need to assign that from right to left.
Excellent. Okay. Now let me write down the box. So I'll be writing by Johnson's rule. So by Johnson's rule. Okay. Now totally there are 4 jobs given to you. Okay. 4 jobs are there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you look at this entire problem, can you please tell me which is the lowest processing time?
14.
14. And you can see that the 14 is on the second machine. And since it's on second machine, I am supposed to assign it from right side. If it is on the first machine, then I'm supposed to assign from the left side. So here it is a 14 is in the second machine. So this becomes job number 4. Now I'm done with this. Okay. Yeah. Now in the remaining matrix, can you please tell me which is the lowest value?
17.
Yeah, 17 is the lowest value, and you can see it is on the machine 1. Okay, so machine 1. So therefore, this becomes job 1. So even this is gone. Okay, now can you please tell me in the remaining value?
20.
20. Again, you can see 20 happens to be on first machine. So therefore, this becomes J3. Okay, and finally, the last value can be written as it is. So this becomes J2. Now you can see that by Johnson's rule, we have got the value as 1, 3, 2, and 4. So this is the order in which this particular jobs have to be processed. Okay. Now please understand, the moment the order is decided, the moment the sequence is obtained, then all these values becomes absolutely insignificant. Whatever value that we have got for G and H, the fictitious machines, lose its relevance immediately after the order is decided. So once the sequencing order is decided, then these values have absolutely no significance. Now all the other calculations has to resume back with the original values. That is the main question, whatever question given in the question paper, with that, the remaining values have to be calculated. Is it clear? Everyone is clear now till here? Any questions, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll just wipe this part. Anyway, you have the recorded video, you can just watch it because I don't have so much space here. So I'll just use the same space. I want one of you please remember this order 1, 3, 2, 4 so that when I write down the table, you can tell me. Okay. Yeah. As usual, the same table what we used to write for the 2 machine and 3 machine, the similar way we'll write it here also. Okay. But here slightly it is bigger because the number of machines are more here. You can see that totally there are 5 machines. Always when you are writing the value for sequencing, it is always based on the machines. We are never going to calculate the idle time per job. All questions in sequencing problems are meant for calculating the idle time of machines. Please remember this concept very clearly. Okay, particularly when the number of machines are more or number of jobs are more, there is a tendency of people getting confused. Okay, never we calculate the idle time for job. Always we calculate the idle time for machines. Please remember this point very clearly. Okay. So as usual, the first column will be jobs. Okay. Can one of you please tell me the order? Which is the order?
1,
1.
Okay.
3,
3,
2,
2,
4.
4. Okay. As usual, totally how many machines we have? 5 machines are there. So I'm writing machine A, in, out. Okay. Machine B, in, out. Machine C, in, out. Machine D, in, out. Machine E, in, out. Okay. And finally, the idle time for A, B, C, D, and E. So 5 columns will come here also because we are supposed to calculate the idle time for 5 machines. Okay. Now let me write down the values now. This is what the overall table we have now. Okay. Now, if you look at this, are you able to see the all the numbers clearly there? Is it visible, everyone?
No, sir. It's not
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Sorry.
No, sir. Can't see it properly.
Okay. One minute, huh? I'll just try to focus a bit more. Now,
Yes, sir.
this is the maximum I can actually take it. 1 minute. Now it's better, slightly better.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now let me start the value calculations now. As usual, you all know, irrespective of whichever machine it is, the first job shall always start from 0. The same logic applies here as well. So the first process starts with 0. Okay. Now I want you to please look at the data and start telling me the values here. And remember one thing very clearly. Machine A is completely independent. Machine B is dependent on A. Machine C is dependent on machine B. Machine D is dependent on machine C. Machine E is dependent on machine D. Okay, this is exactly how all these machines are interconnected to each other. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Now, can you please tell me the values now? Now we have started with the job number 1. So job number 1, machine A is taking totally 7 hours or 7 minutes. Okay. So if it's starting at 0, so what time it will come out?
7.
7. Good. So what time I'm supposed to start at B here?
7.
7. So what time it will come out?
13.
5. Please see all the values are given column wise. Don't get confused. Everything is given column wise. So 7 plus 5, it becomes how much here? 12 agatala. It becomes 12. Okay? Yeah. And then machine C starts at what time?
12,
12. And what time it comes out?
14,
14.
14. Good. Okay. So machine D starts at what time?
14,
14. And what time it comes out?
17,
17. Okay. Machine E starts at what time?
17,
17.
And what time it comes out?
26.
26. Okay. Now, can you please tell me the idle times for all the 5 machines now? For idle time for A, what is the idle time for A?
0.
0. Good.
0.
What is the idle time for B?
7.
7. C?
12.
Okay. D?
14.
Okay. And E?
17.
Very good. So this completes the first value. Now we'll move on to the second job. That is job number 3. Can you tell me what time the job number 3 should start?
7.
7.
7. Good. And what time it will end now?
12.
12. Because 7 plus 5. Sorry. Yeah.
12.
12. Okay. Now what time the next job should start?
12.
12. Because you should always see the previous value. Very important. So 12. And what time it will finish?
16.
16. Good. Now can I start at 16 here? Or
Yes.
should I start at 14?
16.
16. Yes. Very good. And what time it will complete?
21.
21. Okay. Now we'll come back to machine D. So what time the machine D will start?
21.
21. And what time it finish here?
27.
27. Good. Okay. Yeah. Now we'll come back to machine E. Yeah.
27.
27. Okay. And what time it ends here?
35.
35. Okay. Now can you please tell me the idle time? I think I've told you a very simple technique. The last job completed and the next job starting. The difference is called as idle time. This is something which we follow for the second step onwards. So 7 minus 7, 0. 12 minus 12, 0. 14 and 16. So the first 2 machines, no idle time. For the machine C, you can see there is an idle time of 2. When you come to machine D, 17 and 21. Therefore, the idle time becomes 4. And for the last
4.
machine, 26 and 27, the idle time becomes 1.
1.
Okay? Yeah. Now, can you please tell me for the third job, sorry. That is job number 2. What time the job number 2 starts now? Yeah. So it starts at 12. Okay. And what time it comes out?
18.
Yeah, good. Here, what time I should start?
18.
18. Okay. And what time it ends?
24.
24. Great. Okay. Here, what time it should start?
24.
24. Okay. And what time it ends?
28.
28. Okay. Yeah. Here, what time it starts?
28.
28. And what time it ends?
33.
33. Okay. Here, what time I should start here?
35.
35. Okay. And what time it ends?
45.
45. Okay. Now let's calculate the idle time. A, obviously no idle time. B, 16 and 18. Therefore, the difference is 2. 21 and 24, the difference is 3. 27 and 28, the difference is 1. And 35 and 35, no idle time. Correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now we'll
sir.
come to the last
Yes,
job,
sir.
job number 4. Okay. So job number 4. So job number 4 starts at what time now?
18.
18.
What time it completes? 18 plus 8.
26.
Okay. Here.
26.
Okay. Ending time.
26.
Okay. Ending time.
29.
29.
Again, now I'll start at 29. 29 plus 3, it becomes 32.
32.
And now again I have to start at 33 because it is still
33.
finishing 33. So it becomes 35. Okay. And here I have to start at 45. And 45
45.
plus 6, it becomes 51.
51.
51. Now let's calculate the idle time. For A, no idle time. And what is the idle time for B? Idle
2.
time for B is 2.
2.
Idle time for C is 1. Idle time for D is 0. And again, idle time for E is also 0. Now the entire calculations are completed. Okay. Now, once the calculations are completed, now we have 6 things to be calculated. Are 6 as things to be calculated. Now, what are the 6 things to be calculated? First one, total elapsed time. Total elapsed time, which is nothing but T. This is the first value to be calculated. Second, idle time for machine A, then machine B, then machine C, then machine D, and finally machine E. So these are the values to be calculated, and this is the final answer as well. Okay. Now, can you please tell me what is the value for the total elapsed time?
51.
With the experience of the previous questions, what is the meaning of idle time? I mean, elapsed time?
51. Sir.
Sorry?
51.
Time at
That is very simple. The time at which the last job on the last machine completed. Same principle. Here the last machine is machine E and the last job is job number 4. So job number 4 is completing on machine E at 51. So therefore, the first answer is the total elapsed time is equals to 51. Simple. Okay. Now, how do we calculate the idle time for all the 5 machines? That's the next question. Very simple. You are supposed to find the total of all these columns first. Okay. If you take the A, machine A, the idle time is 0. There is no idle time at all. If you come to machine B, 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 2, 11. So 11 is the idle time for B. If you come to C, 12 plus 2, 14, 14 plus 3, 17, 17 plus 1, 18. 18 is the value. If you come to D, 14 plus 4, 18, 18 plus 1, 19. And if you come to the last machine, 17 plus 1, it becomes 18. Now these are the values we have got. Unlike 2 machine problems and 3 machine problem, there are absolutely no formulas for calculating the idle time. And therefore this method is far more simple. Whatever values that we have got individually, that itself will becomes the final answer. Are you all understanding this concept? Unlike the previous 2 methods, we don't have any equations or formulas here. Whatever values we get at the end by taking the total of the columns, that itself will become your idle time. So the idle time for machine A is equals to 0. For B, it is equals to 11. For C, it is 18. For D, it is 19. And for last, E is equals to 18. That's it. So this completes the question. Is that clear to everyone? Everybody is clear now? Any questions or any doubts?
Yes, sir. No,
Okay.
sir.
So this is how we solve the problems on the last method, which is called n machines and n problems, or n jobs, sorry. The number of machines are also more and the number of jobs are also more. Right? Any questions, any doubts, or any yeah.
So, but in the last 2 kinds of problems, the idle time for A was calculated by last job completed minus the last job for
Correct.
A.
Yeah.
But like that we can do here also, no? So for like, because A in that column it doesn't have any value, so it will be remaining idle until the last job completes.
Yeah, the reason I'll tell you why we don't calculate in multiple jobs or multiple machines is, see, we have a concept called hidden values. Hidden values andre, whenever you actually augment a process or whenever you actually run the jobs on a particular sequence, if the number of machines are relatively more, then the idle time on some of the machines always gets minimized because the loads gets distributed on different machines. Okay, therefore if the number of machines are minimum andre, if machines are 2 or 3 or maximum 3, then we always see that the idle time will exist for all the machines in that particular problem. But as and when the number of machines increases, here it is only 5 machines, we can have a question with even 7 machines, 8 machines and 10 machines also. Okay, so the basic principle here is if the number of machines involved in the process increases or whenever it is more than 3, then one of the machines will always have absolutely no idle time. So this is an assumption on which this entire problem is constructed, and therefore whenever you're calculating the idle time for problems having more number of machines, we don't actually go for equations. That is the only reason. I hope you have got the point. Okay, so machines jasti iddaga, the idle time always gets distributed to multiple machines. So in the process, one of the machines becomes absolutely more efficient. Andre, it becomes like a Carnot's engine. Although we don't have physically a Carnot's engine manufactured by any company, but we always claim that Carnot engine is the only engine in the entire world which is 100% efficient. Till now, no company in the world has actually manufactured which has got an efficiency of 100%. Okay, something similar to that. So it's an ideal condition, but we believe that this ideal condition exists somewhere. Okay, got the point?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So is it clear, everyone? This problem, everybody is clear now? How do we proceed with this question whenever
Yes,
we
sir.
have multiple machines and multiple jobs?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Now I will take up the second method of the problem. When if both the conditions are satisfied, which condition I'm referring to? Can anybody please tell me which condition I'm talking about? Which are the two conditions I'm talking about?
Minimum of
First
machine.
machine is greater than or equals to maximum of remaining machine, and
Yeah.
minimum of last machine is greater than or equals to maximum of remaining machine.
Excellent. Yeah. Here in this problem, we could see that only one condition was satisfied. Now we are going to take up a problem where if both the conditions are satisfied, then how do we proceed with the problem? That's exactly what I'm trying to convey. Okay. So shall we take that question? I'll just take that one question and I think we can end the class for the day. Okay. I think once we have completed with the Johnson's rule, I think the remaining calculation will not take more time. Within 5-10 minutes, we can solve that. Okay. So let me just take that question. I have already posted some questions in the WhatsApp group. Did you all had the chance to see the questions? Everyone? Did you see the questions? Yes or
Not
no?
yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet, sir.
Okay. Anyway, please, once anyway, I'm completing the chapter today. I've given all the 3 set of questions together, and you can probably practice all the problems and submit the assignments maybe based on the agreed dates. Okay, we will decide about the date later, not a problem. Okay, yeah. Now let me take the next question. Here they've given jobs A, B, C, and D are the 4 jobs given to you, and also they've given the data on machines. There are totally 4 machines: M1, M2, M3, and M4. So 4 jobs and 4 machines are given to you. Okay. Yeah. The values are 24, 16, 22, and 21. 7, 9, 8, and 6. 7, 5, 6, and 8. 29, 15, 14, and 32. Okay. before I start solving the problem, I wanted to ask you one question. If you remember, in method 1 and method 2, that is case 1 and case 2, we were talking about the order of the problem. Suppose if there are only two machines AB, either the question could be process in AB or it could be in BA. That could be two possibilities. If it is a three machine problem ABC, then it could be ABC, ACB, CAB, CBA, many orders. Okay. Depending on that, even the formula also could change. Do you all remember that step? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, or no? Yeah. But here, as far as multiple machine problems are concerned, we will not be having any questions on any different orders. By default, all the problems in case 3. What is case 3? N job, K machines. In that particular case, it will go on one particular order. If there are 4 machines under M1, M2, M3, M4, same order. If there are 4 machines ABCD under ABCD. Here we are not working on multiple combinations here. We are not saying that ACBD or ADCB, no. Right? Irrespective of any number of things, I mean, particularly whenever it comes to case 3, it is by default, the problem has to be solved in one single order. And therefore, in case 3, you will not get any question specifying on any specific order. By default, the problems have to be solved in the same order of the question. Am I clear? Have you all understood the basic difference here as far as this particular question is concerned? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's start this problem. Okay, now the moment you look at this question, the first impression you should be able to get here is whether the question belongs to case 1, case 2 or case 3. Okay, what is the basis on which we are going to classify this? Yav basis mein classify martivi? Is it on the basis of jobs or on the basis of machines?
Machines, sir.
Very good. Here you could see that the number of machines in this particular problem is 4. M1, M2, M3, M4 are 4 machines here, and therefore it straight away qualifies to case 3. I think that clarity everyone should have. Okay. So once it is clear that the problem belongs to case 3, now the next important step is I am supposed to verify the basic prerequisites which are required to convert this problem into two machine problem. The reason is very simple, because if I were to apply Johnson's rule, it has to be converted into two machine problem. Same condition will do it. What are the condition here? The first condition says the minimum of the first machine, okay, should be greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines. This is one condition. What is condition number 2? Minimum of the last machine should be greater than or equal to maximum of the remaining machines. If both the conditions are satisfied, then we have a different approach. If any one of the conditions are satisfied, then we have to solve the problem like the previous question. So the previous question was only one condition was satisfied. If both the conditions are not satisfied, then the problem ends here. We don't have to do anything further. Okay? 99.9% cases example nimge eradu conditions satisfy agadar kodala. Otherwise, they have to simply give you marks free of cost. Avagi that will never happen. But anyway, you should be knowing about it. Okay? Now let me see whether both the conditions are satisfied or not. Okay. Here, which is the first machine and which is the last machine?
Machine
A
1.
and B.
Yeah. No, A and B are not your machines, they are jobs.
M1 and
Please,
M4,
please
sir.
be very
M1
careful.
and M4.
Ille tumba jana mistake madodu. Please read your column labels very clearly. ABCD is job. Machines are M1, M2, M3, M4. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವರು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. So don't get confused. Please read the labels clearly. Job ABCD, machines M1, M2, M3, M4. So this is your first machine and this is your last machine. Correct? Okay. Let me just first take the minimum of first machine. M1 nalli, which is the minimum value?
16.
16.
So let me first write down all the value now. Minimum of M1 is equals to 16. First data. Next we'll come to M4. M4 ನಲ್ಲಿ which is the minimum value?
14.
14.
So minimum of M4 is equals to 14. That is the second part. Now we'll come to the remaining value. Which are the remaining values now? M2 and M3 is remaining value. Okay. Maximum of M2, M3. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? What is the maximum of M2 value?
9.
9, sir.
9 and 8, sir.
Value is 9. Okay, 9 ಬರುತ್ತೆ, comma. And what is the maximum of M3?
9 and 8.
8.
8 ಅಂತ ಬಂತು. Okay. Now let us verify the condition. First, I'll go to the first one. Minimum of first should be greater than or equal to the maximum of remaining. That is, 16 is greater than or equal to 9,8. You can see that 16 is greater than 9 and also 16 is also greater than 8. And the two conditions satisfy. Are you able to understand here? You can see that 16 is both greater than 9 as well as 8, which means that the first condition is satisfied. Now we'll come back to second condition. Minimum of last ಯಾವುದು 14. 14 is greater than or equal to 9,8. Now you can see that both 14 is greater than 9 and also it is greater than 8. That means even the second condition also is fully satisfied. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ನಿಮಗೆ? Now you are able to understand the difference between the first method and second method, everyone? Are you able to understand? Okay, now you can
Yes,
see
sir.
that both the conditions are satisfied. So in any problem, if both the conditions are satisfied, then the way we convert this problem into two machine is entirely different. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು fictitious machines na introduce ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. This is the most important point to remember. We are not supposed to introduce fictitious machines if both the conditions are satisfied. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? Very simple. In any problem, if both first and second conditions are satisfied, then the problem can be reduced into two machine problem by directly taking the first machine and the last machine. Direct ಆಗಿ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ M1 and M4 can be directly taken. ಅಂದ್ರೆ the whole problem is being reduced to two sides ಅಥವಾ two rows. ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವಾಗ reduce ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? Only when both the conditions are satisfied. But if only one condition satisfied there, what are we supposed to do? And then I'm supposed to introduce G and H. So G and H yavag barutte? If only one condition is satisfied. And when first and last machine will come into picture? When both the conditions are satisfied. This distinction you should be clear. Is everybody clear with this condition now? Any doubts, any questions? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. So now I'm supposed to introduce two values. What are the two values I'm getting now? First is M1, okay, and the next one is M2. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲಿ jobs ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ jobs ಬರುತ್ತೆ? A, B, C, and D. So what are the M1 values? Directly I can write down 24, 16, 22, and 21. And what is the M4 value? M4 is M2, sorry, M4. Which are the M4 values? 29, 15, 14, and 32. Now you can see that now the problem is reduced to two machine problem. Once the problem is reduced to two machine problem, now without any difficulty we can apply Johnson's rule. ಈಗ ನಾವು Johnson's rule apply ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. I think rest all is everything is same. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮೇಜರ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ introducing fictitious machine is not required here because we can directly take the values of first and last machine. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ? Have you all understood now? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us apply Johnson's rule. So by Johnson's rule, okay. Now I want you to please tell me the order now. The order ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ನನಗೆ. Totally how many jobs are there? 4 jobs are there. Okay. Now tell me the order now. Yes.
J.
Okay, which is the lowest
JC.
value here? 14 is the lowest
14.
value. Okay, C. Andre illi baratte. So job C will come here first. Okay, next.
JB.
JB.
So B is the next because again 15 is the lowest value. Second machine is there. Agar this will become B. Okay. Next.
D, sir.
Sorry.
D. D, sir. Job D.
D. Okay, D is there. So D you can see it's happening on the first machine. Therefore, I'm supposed to write here. Okay. And finally, the last value you can directly write as it is. So this is the order. So D, A, B, C is the order in which the job has to be processed. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? Till Johnson Schule, everybody is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
as usual, the same procedure. Yeah, madam. Tell me. You wanted to ask something?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. Okay.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, great. So now this is the order what we have got. D, A, B, C is the order. Now can I just ask you to continue this problem and give me the answer remaining part? Can you do it now, the remaining part, everyone by yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because
Yes, sir.
now everything is same. Now absolutely no difference. Once the Johnson Schule order is got, the same value. You have to write down all the value M1, M2, M3, M4, in out, in out, in out, and finally find the idle time of M1, M2, M3, M4 and get the answer. Okay. The only difference in the second type is this part. So ಎರಡು condition satisfy andre directly the first machine and last machine can be taken as it is. We are not supposed to convert any value. We are not supposed to add any value here. Straight away, first machine and the last machine can be taken for sequencing rule or Johnson's rule. That is the only extra step or chain that is happening here. Once the order is obtained, then we can solve this problem by regular method. Same table in no changes, 100% exactly same as the previous question hereafter. Okay, so can you solve this and give me the answer by tomorrow, everyone, for this question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if that is the case, I think this is the end of this particular chapter. So these are the only two variety of questions you can expect as far as case 3 is concerned. So case 3 ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಎರಡು ತರ problem ಬರಬಹುದು. First variety of question, one of the condition could have been satisfied. Avaga we will introduce G and H. If both the conditions are satisfied, this is how we solve this problem. Okay, so there is no other third variety. Of course, third variety hege barbodu andre, if both the conditions are not satisfied, then the problem cannot be solved. Example kandita tara kodala, because there nobody will give you 10 marks just for just writing that the problem cannot be solved. But anyway, it is important for you to know the concept, and that's why I think it's important. Okay, is that clear? Now, any questions or any doubts in the whole sequencing problem, you can ask me. Any doubts or any questions? Yes or no? Yeah?
No, sir, it's fine, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, now if everything is clear, then I'll just quickly recap what exactly we did in this entire chapter, and then maybe you can just start solving the problems as well. Okay, to start with, what is sequencing? I think I've made it very clear to you in the beginning itself. Sequencing is a mathematical process where you are trying to identify which is a perfect order in which the jobs have to be processed. Okay, we are not processing machines. Many people get confused here. We are not processing machines here. We are processing jobs. So yava order nalli now jobs na process madidre, the overall idle time of the machines can be minimized. That is the objective with which the sequencing problems are constructed. Okay, so the sequencing problems, the ultimate objective is to minimize the total idle time on all the machines. Okay, so here there are different concepts we understood, like no passing rule, the meaning of processing time, the meaning of elapsed time, the meaning of idle time, and what are the assumptions to be made before we start solving a sequencing problem. I think we discussed about all that. And then we started speaking about the 4 different types of methods as far as sequencing problem is concerned. The first method was processing n jobs through 2 machines. And the second method was processing n jobs through 3 machines. And the third was processing 2 jobs through n machines. Of course, it is also one of the methods, but since it was not part of your syllabus, I have not taken up that particular method. I've just omitted that. And then we have come to the last method, that is method number 4, which is this, which is processing n jobs through k machines. So totally 3 method problems we've solved as far as sequencing is concerned. From examination point of view, definitely one problem for 10 marks can be expected from this chapter. That is for sure, 100%. It could be from any of the 3 cases. Either it could be case 1, case 2, or case 3. But one question you can definitely expect for 10 marks. Okay. So with that, we have completed module number 5. So in module number 5, there were 2 different chapters we dealt with. The first part of the module 5 was about assignment problems, and the second part was about sequencing. So we have completed both the chapters now. With this, module 5 is completed. So next class, we are going to start with module 6, the last module. Of course, there is one more module which I have to cover, which is module number 3. I'll come back to that once I'm completing with module number 6. So module number 6, Nalle, again, there are 2 chapters here. The first part of module 6 is about network analysis, and the second part of module 6 is about replacement potential or replacement model. Okay. So network analysis and replacement model are 2 chapters which are part of module number 6. Okay. So I'll start with module number 6 from next class. I think next class is tomorrow, I guess. Anyway, I'll just talk to Ravi and we'll try to find out which is the right time to have a class, and then we will take up the chapter. Okay. And meanwhile, I've already shared the questions on sequencing. Please start practicing problems on sequencing. I mean, solve those questions, whatever given, so that you'll be able to have complete clarity about the whole step. So if you continue to delay, then you will forget all the methods and steps. So please don't delay it any further. Start solving the problems today itself, so that I think by tomorrow you should be able to finish all the problems. Okay. Yeah. So that is what I wanted to convey from my end. And from tomorrow, I think we can start with the network analysis. Again, network analysis chapter is very important because it can be an expected question for case study. So ED OR there are 2 chapters which can be expected for case study. One is your Modi method. Number 2, it is your network analysis. And there are possibility that even simplex method also can be asked as a case study question, which is a part of your module 3. These are the 3 important chapters where the case study question can come up. Okay. Agagi, very, very important from examination point of view as well. And not only from examination point of view, even from the subject point of view, as well as the application point of view, they have got a huge relevance in industry as well. So if you start understanding the concept and application of it, and I'm sure you'll be able to appreciate how these models and concepts have really helped industries to come out of their problem and enhance their efficiency. Okay. So that is what I wanted to convey as far as my future class programs are concerned. And I think if everything goes well, and if I'm getting sufficient time like what I've got today, and if there are no network hitch and all that, I think I'll be able to comfortably complete the syllabus at least by end of this month. End of this month, I don't think so. It's not practically possible. Anyway, we will just take some time and finish. Anyway, university has not still given any time for the exam. So, but anyway, we'll not delay it indefinitely. As and when it is possible, we'll try to finish the things. Okay. Yeah. So before I end the class, I just want to get one feedback from your side. Was this today's lecture was perfect, clear? There was no problem with the sound, with the video quality. Everything was okay with today's class?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So if this is okay, then I think we can use the same method for the future classes as well. Hopefully, this room will not be used by any other faculty member during this time. Most probably it will be free during 4 o'clock, because I'll be the only person who stay for quite some time here. After 6, 7, 8, obviously it will be free. So anyway, I'll just keep this setup permanently for classes. And even I felt that today the voice clarity was perfect. There was no turbulence or no problems with the network as well, because this is completely LAN connected. And on all probability, optic fiber internet connectivity is always better than the hotspot and other things. And I think you also had no issues when taking classes as well. Because in practical papers, if network issues keep fluctuating, then it really irritates a lot. I really understand that. Hopefully, anyway, we got a solution. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all. I think if there are no questions, then we can end the class for the day. I hope everybody is getting the recorded videos, right? I think Chirag, Rajat, they're sharing, recording and sharing it parallelly. Are you all getting the recorded videos on a timely basis, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sir, Rajat is uploading in his YouTube channel, sir. So everyone is getting.
Yeah, no problem. I have no issues wherever. If it is reaching people, that is something more important to me. Which platform, which medium, I have absolutely no problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I leave it to your choice, because initially I was told that if I start sharing the video in the WhatsApp, then it will consume a lot of data and it might be difficult for the people. Since I'm not very technically strong on all these things, that's why I wanted your help to upload the things and reach the students. Okay. So if it's reaching, that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with any platform, no problem. Okay. So thank you all then. I think we can end the class for the day, and tomorrow we'll continue. And tomorrow, what time, I will communicate to Ravi or class CR, and accordingly we'll have the class. Okay. So shall we end the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today Chirag is the chief custodian, so he has to give me permission to end the class.
Yes, sir. Shall I end it, sir?
Yeah, you can end it, no problem.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I solved the problem. Total elapsed time is 117.
This question
And
is
the
it?
machine.
So I got 111, sir.
I got 125, sir.
Oh my God, how it cannot be different answers, right? It has to be same. I
It's
think you must have
120.
made some mistakes in calculation. Please check the calculation part. You cannot get
Okay.
different answers at all. It has to be same answers. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe some calculation error should be there. Don't worry. You can just take some 5 minutes extra and see where you have gone wrong in addition. I think you should be getting same answer. Okay. Anyway, I have the answer with me. If you want, I can give the answer as well. I think the answer is 125. 125 is the correct answer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
125 is the correct answer. And the idle time is 42, 95, 99, and 35. Correct? Have you all got the same answers, everyone?
So could you please
sir.
repeat? Sir?
Sorry?
So please repeat the answer of idle time, M1,
Yeah,
M2.
idle time is off. Sorry, I just read the other question. 125 is your total elapsed time. Have you all got the same answer? I mean, those who have
Yes, sir.
solved, you can probably check that. So 135 is that. And the remaining answers is 95, 99, and 35. $95 for M2, 99 for M3, and 35 for M4. Okay. Okay, you can just anyway, once you solve the problem, you'll get it. But please understand that everybody should get the same answer. Here, you cannot have different answers here. Obviously, it has to be the same answer. That is one thing which I wanted to tell you. Irrespective of, it cannot be a different answer because all the values are unique here. So there will be no possibility of getting different answers. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's it from my end. We can end the class for the day. And we can continue the class tomorrow with the new chapter. Okay. Okay. Chirag, I think you can end the class. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.